Well, with another request on Patreon from Carlos Hernandez, it's time I take a look at an old Batman movie many have dubbed a plain classic. That's right, the one and only Mask of the Phantasm. A movie based around the old Batman the Animated series from 1992, created by Paul Dini, Bruce Timm, and Eric Radomski. The series was deemed definitive among Batman fans, me included, though I am ashamed to admit I never watched Mask of the Phantasm. I know, I'm sorry, I'm a bad Batman fan. As a kid, I used to see the promo for it on the Free Willy VHS. Yes, that's how I got introduced to it beforehand. I meant to get to it, I just never found the time. Within 20 plus years. Yes, I know, that's bad. But I'm rectifying that right now. This is Mask of the Phantasm. We start on a CGI credit sequence that puts the real adventures of Johnny Quest to shame, as we then get introduced to a mob deal about to catch a few batarangs.
Anybody got a problem with that?
Batman pops in just to give us that good action right off the bat by busting up the goons. Already the movie gets things heated up and we're only 2 minutes in. One of the mobsters run away and Batman gives chase, but not before a badass dick move.
Even to a guy like me, that's cold.
The mobster named Chucky Soul makes it outside to his car, but meets a ghostly figure named the Phantasm who tries to kill him. Soul gets in his car and tries to run over the Phantasm, but they're too tough for that by jumping on the car and breaking the windshield. Soul shakes them off the car and tries to run them over again.
This time I got you, you lousy, stinking.
Gotcha, bitch!
Batman arrives on the scene to see the fallout and ends up seeing the Phantasm, but sadly he lets them get away. We cut to the next day where Councilman Arthur Reeves is accusing Batman of the murder of Soul. You would think that's weird that they jumped the gun there considering Batman's record, but you do end up seeing why later, so you don't really strike it against them. Alfred watches the broadcast and turns it off to help Bruce examine the evidence he found at the crime scene. We then see a plane flying overhead to reveal a woman making a return to Gotham while calling Councilman Arthur.
Don't forget, you've got a big-time city councilman on your side.
Can't believe it's been 10 years.
Thinking of looking up some old friends?
Oh, Arthur, don't start that again. He's ancient history.
We then see Bruce hosting a fancy schmancy party at the Wayne Manor.
Haven't you ever thought about marriage? Even once.
Oh, never say the M word in front of Bruce. It makes him nervous.
What about the I word?
The I word?
Engagement.
Oh, honey. We then see Bruce get embarrassed by this woman he went out with some time ago. He goes to clean himself up, but runs into Arthur, who reminds him of a woman named Andrea Beaumont.
Really, Bruce, it's almost as if you picked them because you know there's no chance for a serious relationship. At least since that one girl. What was her name? Anne? Andy? Andrea? Yes, Andrea Beaumont. Now there was a sweet number. How'd you let her get loose?
Thanks for the handkerchief, Arthur. You know where you can stick it.
Bruce goes to his study to reminisce about his lost love, where he flashes back to when he first met her. This starts a series of flashbacks that all revolve around him and his connection to Andrea. They're done in a way that really allows you to feel the pain and tragedy of their relationship. Bruce has struggles with committing because he feels guilty about being happy.
Please. I need it to be different now. I know I made a promise, but I didn't see this coming. I didn't count on being happy.
He feels he's betraying his parents by not committing more to his original mission, which we see him trying to get into and to a degree succeed at, but somewhat fail. It all ends up leading to him finally donning the cape and cowl, but it still ends in tragedy when Andrea has to leave, even after he proposed to her, which she did agree to because her father got mixed up with the mob, sadly. It's all done with that powerful sense of character depth that the series thrives on. It's done in a very emotional way that you can easily find yourself sympathizing with what's going on, including with a new character that you've never seen before. That's powerful storytelling on the crew's part. We come back to modern day where a small group of mobsters are paying respects to Saul. The one mobster named Buzz Bronski gets haunted by the Phantasm, who I have to say does create a bit of an eerie vibe to them. You don't really know how they work, but that creates the creep factor to it, like the phasing through objects thing. It's never explained, so it adds that sense of mystery to them, and they tend to also get some pretty gruesome kills in, even though this is a PG movie. This is a movie that very much earned its PG rating. Take notes, MPAA. We see an old man stirring his tea when he sees the headline that Buzz got axed off. We then cut to Arthur chewing out Commissioner Gordon for not going after Batman. Arthur tries to lure Batman out by using the bat signal, but that obviously wasn't gonna work. Like, come on, dude. It's Batman. Batman checks Buzz's murder scene out and sees Andrea.
You. Bruce?
Oh, damn!
Later, Councilman Arthur is walking down the street when he gets approached by that old guy we saw from before, revealing himself as another mob boss named Salvatore Valestra in his car. He asks Arthur, is it true that Batman is killing off members of his old crew, and he shows that he's scared for his life. Arthur leaves the car and we cut to Batman researching dummy corporations set up by Buzz, Saul, and Salvatore.
Don't wait up.
Meaning, I trust, that once you're done with him, you'll be seeing her?
You think you know everything about me, don't you?
I dive at your bottom. I bloody well ought to, sir.
You sassy bitch.
Salvatore ends up taking a trip to an old abandoned World's Fair to meet up with an old crew member who is revealed to be the undisputed most diabolical villain in the world, Mark Hamill's Joker. You can't deny the power of this Joker. He's inspired many to be like him and is often considered the definitive version. Barely a few hold a candle to him with his blend of comedy and creepiness. He works on all the levels that Joker should work on. He deserves all the praise as the best Joker, definitely. Joker takes Salvatore back to his lair where Salvatore tries to convince him of killing the Batman before he kills him. Joker agrees, but with some unbeneficial conditions. We catch up with Andrea coming home from a date with Arthur where Batman is waiting for her. He approaches her and asks what's happening with her father and where he is. She feels disrespected by this and asks him to leave. We then cut to the Phantasm going into Salvatore's home, planning to kill him, but the joke's on them as Joker had already got to Salvatore.
Whoops! Guess the joke is on me. You're not Batman after all. Looks like there's a new face in Gotham, and soon his name will be all over town. To say nothing of his legs, feet, and spleen, and head.
This leads to Batman coming onto the scene in the Batwing and chasing Phantasm down. This also leads to Batman diving out of the Batwing and tackling Phantasm and fighting them, but they get away just as the police arrive to arrest Batman. This is where a fairly intense chase sequence happens, and this is done so well you can't help but be enraptured by it considering how close they actually got to catching him. I'm talking Batman being blown up, losing his mask, having to rely on just his physical abilities to get out of there. You just have to appreciate how this whole sequence is done. Batman gets picked up by Andrea as they drive back to Wayne Manor. She tells Bruce that her father is the one behind the mask because of his dealings with the mobsters, and that's why she had to leave all those years ago. They reignite their love and spend the night together.
Giggity.
Andrea leaves as they plan to meet up for a date later on. Bruce takes a minute to contemplate whether he should continue donning the cape and cowl. He looks at old photos of Andrea and her father, which also includes the mobsters. Bruce sees a particular mobster who he realizes was the Joker before he went mad, leading him to realize who the Phantasm next hit is. Joker pays Arthur a visit and comes up with a plan to lure Batman and Phantasm out.
Shit!
Batman visits Andrea's home but gets a call from Joker telling him a bomb's on its way. Batman stops the bomb and we then go back to the World's Fair area, which I'm telling you now is filled with a major spoiler that I think is too good to give away. Yes, I know this movie has been out since 1993, but I think it's one of those really good reveals that should be seen and not just told to you about. I mean, sure, maybe you figured it out already, but I do think it should be witnessed, so I'm sorry, I gotta leave you in the dark about what happens. It's definitely something you should go see for yourself, so I do recommend you go actually find this movie, buy it, rent it, whatever, and see this big spoiler. But I will go into a little bit of detail about the final battle. So the big battle happens between Joker and Batman, which calls for a lot of fun and creative and even silly moments, like this one instance with a toy plane. Even though it's animated, you feel the pain Batman just suffered right there, which brings me to the point about the animation. It's classic but timeless in its execution with its heavier use of shadows and harsh tones, all of which very much fit that Batman aesthetic. You get strong impacts when a punch happens and you can't help but feel like, yeah, that must have hurt. It's just how great this movie and this series was. The battle draws to a close after a lot of Joker and Batman completely wailing on each other. Phantasm disappears with Joker in hand, Batman consoles in his lair, and Andrea leaves again to end on a very bittersweet note. And that's the end of the movie. Do I really need to tell you this is a great film? It gives you just about everything you could want out of a Batman movie. Suspense, action, drama, all while capturing everything that makes Batman Batman. Yeah, it's not the biggest boundary pusher, but it definitely deserves a place at the table as one of the great Batman movies. It's definitely a must-watch for a fan of the old series, for a fan of DC, or for a fan of just pure Batman. It's just plain great. And that's the review. Thank you for watching, and always remember, it's just a deep thought.